Previously on Fear the Walking Dead. I don't even know what to say. This was an awesome episode. They did not show us anything on how he got away from those walkers. Come on. I mean, honestly, like, I love this episode so much, but you got that one thing that's just, come on, like, show us how he got out of there. Is Mr. Jones dead or alive? And she's like, well, I don't know, you know? It was a cliffhanger, I don't know, you know? Morgan Jones is dead. You're dealing with somebody else now. That was absolutely insane. Two weeks in a row. And I still can't find anything I don't like about this. Hey guys, it's Dan, your host of Dan's Reviews, and today I'm back for my weekly review for this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6. This is for Season 6, Episode 2, which is called Welcome to the Club, and my goodness, this was amazing.
People need to feel safe.
We'll find everybody.
And go where? We don't have much time.
What do you unlock?
Alright guys, so this is going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. This is for Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 2, which is called Welcome to the Club. So, holy crap, like seriously, this season is darn good. Honestly, every episode so far this season has been really good. I know it's only been 2, but I have to say, this season is really impressing me so far. So, absolutely want to hear your thoughts right away before I get into it on this episode. What did you think of this episode of Fear the Walking Dead? Obviously, as you guys can probably tell from this video, I thought this week's episode was awesome. I mean, honestly, this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead, I was really skeptical because I was like, the Morgan episode, it's good. All right, yeah, that was a good episode last week, but are they going to continue to have this season be that good? Are they going to continue to have, you know, good episodes? We're going to get all these bottle episodes. You know, is it going to be as good? I can honestly say after watching this episode, it's staying to the same pace. I mean, it is, at least so far. We'll have to see. Obviously, next week, we're going to get to see Dwight and Althea. It looks like they'll get, you know, their episode next week. But at least for right now, I have to say, I'm very impressed. So, last week, we got to focus on Morgan. This week, we get to focus on Alicia and Strand, as well as Daniel. Now, I really want to get into some of this stuff with Daniel as well, because I found that, you know, really interesting and something I didn't expect to actually see in this episode with some of the stuff they gave Daniel to do. Now, let's talk about the episode from beginning to end, and then we'll discuss a little bit at the end. So, starting off this episode, we have, you know, a few randoms here that are basically clearing this this thing of walkers. Now, the whole idea of this whole thing with, you know, all these walkers kind of coming through in this episode is that it's a job that Virginia wants done, and you have these randoms that I guess kind of do that. But basically, the idea is that, you know, you have to be pretty skilled to actually be able to take out all of these walkers that they have held up in this, like, you know, little garage or something like that. You have to be pretty skilled, it seems like. You have to really know what you're doing. And at the beginning of the episode, obviously, we see that these people that were there at the beginning of the episode, they couldn't do it. So, it kind of, and then obviously we get to see one of Virginia's guys get killed. So, we get the intro. This week, we get to focus on Strand for the intro, which I think is really, really cool. Every week, we're going to get to see an intro with a different character. It seems like last episode, we got to see Morgan, I believe, on the intro. Or it could have been Emil, but again, he took his clothes, so we don't know. And then this week, we get to focus on Strand. So, that's really cool. Now, speaking of Strand, okay, he gets really, like, mouthy here, coming up here. So, basically, you've got this guy that, I guess, you know, is kind of getting upset with them or whatever, and Strand speaks up, and he's like, well, I guess I'm not. You know, I guess I'm not, and he throws the bucket towards the guy. And then you have Virginia's sister that comes in. Now, we knew that she was going to be a character this season. I really liked her in this episode so far. She seems to be kind of that little sister that doesn't really agree with what the big sister is doing, obviously Jenny, and she kind of is trying to help out Alicia and Strand throughout this whole episode. So, I did like her, and Dakota, I believe, is her name, and I really did like her character in this episode, how she kind of came in as kind of that little sister that doesn't want to hurt anybody. She's just trying to help Strand and Alicia. And she kind of doesn't like what her sister's doing. So I do like that, and I did like her character in this episode, I do have to say. Can I please add, too, that they really casted a really good actress for Virginia's sister. That looks like a little Virginia. It really does. They did a good job casting her, I would have to say. So, we get to see, you know, basically Virginia, she's getting a haircut by Daniel. Now, let's talk about that. Daniel pretends in this episode, it's kind of a Carol move that Daniel pulls in this episode. He pretends to not remember who anybody is. And I knew that something was going to be going on with Daniel this season, but I didn't expect something like this. This was really crazy. So he's, I guess, pretending like he doesn't remember what's going on. Obviously, at the end of the episode, we know that he is. He does remember everything that's going on. But he pretends like he doesn't know who Strand is, who Alicia is, and even Charlie, which was crazy. So, you know, because Charlie, she's trying to remind him in this episode, you know, with the banjo and stuff, and he's not, you know, he's not getting it. And at first, I'm like, man, I don't like this idea for storyline for Daniel at all. But then, when you see the ending, we'll get to it in a second, but when you see the ending of the episode, obviously we know that, you know, he's just pulling a Carol, which I think is very interesting. So, what are your thoughts on Daniel in this episode? I definitely want to hear that in the comment section below. Do you like his whole idea of kind of trying to make people, you know, kind of believe that he doesn't remember, so then when the time is right, he can kind of do something? It kind of feels like that's his plan. So I really did like Daniel in this episode. It seems like so far this season, they're writing him good. They're writing Daniel a lot better in this episode than they did in Season 5, where his character was just, you know, all over the place and just all that kind of stuff. So basically, we get to see, obviously, Alicia and Strand, they kind of have to take out this threat. We have them that are at Lawton first, and then they get driven to this, you know, this thing with, you know, all the walkers, and, you know, the big, you know, kind of threat in this episode is all of these walkers that they have to kind of take out. So, we get a reunion between Charlie and Alicia, obviously, and we also have Janice that shows up, and they all team up together to take out these walkers. Now, we have a bit of a close call for Charlie here, which I did think was pretty interesting, but, it seems like, you know, no, Charlie's fine. She wasn't, you know, she wasn't bit. She got saved in time. I know there's probably going to be some people out there that was like, was Charlie bit? I'm going to say for right now, I don't think she was. I feel like they would have revealed that in this episode at this time. But, yeah, anyway, so that's that. So, basically, Strand and Alicia, they, you know, are the main focus of this episode. They take out some of the walkers, and Strand really behaves like his self before the apocalypse in, you know, Season 1, where he really is, you know, kind of selfish. But when it comes to Alicia, he even comes to a point in this episode where he tells her the truth. Like, I made this deal, that type of thing, since Virginia's sister kind of spills the beans, you know, on that, you know, because she's trying to help them out or whatever. Strand kind of is forced in this episode to tell Alicia that, you know, I made this deal, that type of thing. Yeah, we should, you know, start making the calls for ourselves, that type of thing. So, yeah, now, basically, let's get into what Strand does. So, he kills a dude to basically, I guess, get our characters, away from the zombies, and he uses a character, he basically stabs a guy and, you know, kind of, you know, feeds him to the walkers, in order for our characters to, I guess, live. So, that was crazy, and that's something from Strand that I did not expect him to do, is to actually kill somebody in this episode. Did not expect that at all. But, I guess throughout all of this, they take care of the walkers, and Virginia is, I guess, proud of Strand, and she kind of, you know, looks at it as Strand is the real hero in this one. So she gives Strand one of the keys. So it's looking like now Strand is going to become, one of Virginia's, like, actual people, and, Alicia, Charlie, and, Janice are going to be sent away, and Strand is now going to remain as one of Virginia's people, it seems like. Somebody important, since she gave him the key at the end of the episode. So, yeah, very interesting for sure. So Strand is kind of going back to that, you know, his old self, where he's, you know, very selfish, that type of thing. And that's, you know, it's very much, you know, what Strand is. So I don't expect anything else, anything less from Strand in this episode. Now, yeah, now Alicia is getting sent away. Obviously, we have a goodbye scene between the two of them, and we'll have to see. I don't know if they're going to set things up exactly like this, but they really are setting it up to feel like Strand and Alicia may not actually see each other again. So I hope that's not the case. I really am hoping right now that that is not the case. But basically, you know, the walkers obviously are dealt with. Strand now is going to be, you know, part of, you know, Virginia's group. And it seems like Alicia, you know, Charlie, and, you know, Janice are going to be going somewhere else. So really sad goodbye. Even Strand kind of, you know, has a few tears there at the end. Yeah, it's very interesting. So I didn't expect Strand and Alicia to actually get separated in this episode. So I'm wondering where that's going to go, and if we'll get like a solo episode with Alicia at some point, you know, maybe later on this season. If we'll get another one with Strand, I don't know. But it looks like Strand is now kind of joining Virginia after, you know, dealing with these walkers. Virginia wants him on board, it seems like. So, Yeah, very interesting. So, let's talk about the end of this episode. So, Daniel, obviously, he, doesn't remember anything, and we kind of have that whole thing playing through, and you have, Daniel that kind of gets a signal from somebody in the woods, and, very, very shocking, part of this episode at the end is where we get to see Morgan, show up out of nowhere, and we get the reveal at the end of the episode. Okay, Daniel remembers Morgan, Daniel remembers what's going on, there's no, kind of confusion there. It seems like he's just doing this as like a kind of an act, and we get that reveal when he actually meets up with Morgan in this episode. And it looks like Morgan is, trying to get his people back. He's kind of scouting the communities, that type of thing. And Daniel and Morgan basically shake hands at the end, and Daniel kind of has a lot of respect for Morgan after that. So that is the episode overall. In terms of an episode with Strand and Alicia, I really enjoyed it. I thought all the stuff with the walkers was really exciting. Definitely some questionable decisions there from Strand, with killing the one dude and, kind of, letting himself join Virginia's, kind of community, taking the key that she offers him and, being part of that, and obviously, kind of sending Alicia away for, I guess, her own protection, and all that kind of stuff. So it's very interesting. Strand, definitely, I'm wondering what they're going to do with him coming up next, now that he has fully joined this community, and we know, obviously, from the trailers, too, that Strand is joining the community, but in the trailers, John is also beating up Strand, which I believe John is in Lawton. So I don't understand why we didn't see John in this episode. That is one question I definitely have, but I'm sure we're going to get some answers for that. As far as the whole Daniel thing, I mean, the appearance of Morgan at the end of this episode was absolutely awesome. And in terms of Daniel and just everything like that, I think Daniel is awesome this episode because he really, he's tricking everybody to make it seem like he doesn't remember anything. And by the end of the episode, we get the confirmation, yeah, he does. He doesn't want to reveal that quite yet. So, very, very cool stuff. I want to hear your opinions about what did you guys think about this week's episode of Fear the Walking Dead. Guys, this season, I don't know what's going on, but this is an absolutely awesome season of Fear the Walking Dead. So, I want to hear your opinions on, Virginia's sister, Strand, and his decisions in this episode, fully joining Virginia, sending Alicia away, and then Daniel and his whole memory thing, and, the scene with him and Morgan at the end. What are your thoughts on just all that stuff in this episode? This was an absolutely awesome episode, and for a bottle episode, absolutely fantastic, guys. Absolutely awesome episode. So, I want to hear your opinions about all that stuff in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Write your comments in the comment section below. 9.5 out of 10 for this week for Fear the Walking Dead. I'm serious. This episode, 9.5, absolutely deserves it. I thought there was a lot of great stuff in it. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing episode 3 next week. And it looks like we're going to get to see Dwight and Althea next week. So, very glad to see Alicia back, Strand back, and to see their story in this episode. And just now that those two characters are split up, where does it go from here? Definitely very awesome to see. So, anyway, guys, I will see you guys really soon for another video, of course. Write your comments in the comment section below. If you guys are new here, click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos for Fear the Walking Dead. Follow Dan's Walking Reviews on Instagram, guys. And, of course, I'll see you guys really soon for another video for Fear the Walking Dead. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and peace out.